Have you been to Five Below? It's kind of like the dollar store, but it's everything is $5 and below. And I have to tell you, there's some really great things there. And in fact, I was there and I have purchased several things from Five Below, and there are some really good products there. And so I wanted to make an episode of some of my favorite items from Five Below and some not to even mess with. So that is today's episode. Hey there, I'm Amy Connell, and welcome to Graced Health. This podcast is for women who want simple and grace-filled ways to take care of themselves and age their bodies well. And of course, we enjoy a little chocolate in the process because it just wouldn't be any fun without chocolate or whatever that thing is for you. When people ask me what I do, I, first of all, always have a hard time exactly explaining what I do. And in fact, my husband is like super supportive of me, and he really doesn't understand what I do. Like he just doesn't get it. So it's always a little hard for me to communicate. But basically, I will tell people, oh, I'm a communicator. So I write and I speak, and I now have a podcast to women about taking care of and appreciating their God-created bodies, no matter what that looks like. And I will typically go on to say, I just feel like there's so many different ways of doing that, and God created us uniquely. And then my favorite thing to tell people is, which if you listen to my story, you heard this, but there's no BMI index in the Bible. God made us differently. And sometimes it's a little hard to embrace that. And so part of my mission is to help women embrace that and accept that. And it seems like whenever I have this conversation and I'm telling someone who, she's within my age, or she's about my age, within 10 years or so, they'll always go, oh, that's so great. I love that. My daughter needs to hear that. This is something that I want to find an expert. So if you know of one, reach out to me and let me know. But there is such a challenge for moms, and particularly moms of girls. I have boys, so I'm not in this camp, but I really empathize with it, of helping our daughters grow up to have healthy body image. The statistics are really sobering out there. I mean, something like 70% of high school girls are unhappy with their body. And of course, these girls are bombarded with images and pictures and videos of so much more than we ever did, with girls working out and, what is it? Fitspiration. And then there's the Thinspiration, which I really hate, but there's so much, and it's so confusing, and it's so hard. It's so hard as moms. What does this have to do with Five Below? I'm going to tell you what, because some of our daughters, or some of your daughters, I guess, are interested in working out, and they're interested in being fit, and they're not wanting like a teeny bopper class. Like they want real workouts, and it's hard to direct them and tell them where to go and what to do. And I know that they are out there and they're fine. And I know this because I've had moms tell me this, like they're just following along something on Instagram, or they're just following me, they're looking up on YouTube, which, look, I do the same thing, but I at least have the age and the wisdom to be like, oh, well, this is good for me, or, oh, this is total garbage, or, whatever, or this is not exactly the words that I want to be surrounding myself with. And they don't have that. This Five Below episode, it kind of is twofold. One is, I know I've been talking a lot about products, and not all of them are inexpensive. I know in the fitness gifts episode, there were some things that kind of have a higher price point. I mean, TRX isn't cheap. TerraCore isn't cheap. For some of you, that may be a great big gift to have under the tree, or to have someone buy for you. And for some of you, that's not in the cards, and that's okay, because I truly believe the very best fitness, I call it toy, that we can have is just our own body. You can do so much with it. But the other half of the intention behind this episode is, you may have a daughter or a son who is interested in fitness and in working out and all of that kind of stuff. And maybe you're not really sure where to lead her, or she's not listening to you, very strong possibility because what do we know? We're only moms. Or maybe you're just wanting to get her a few things to have where you're not spinning an arm and a leg, because children also are somewhat fickle and they may try something for a little bit and then they move on and they don't want to do anything else. So that is why I am doing this episode on products you can get at Five Below. I don't have the prices on most of these, but I think most of everything I have on here is $5, maybe $4, but they're all relatively inexpensive. And I feel like they are worth the money to at least try it. And some of them may last you a while. I have some of these and they're going to last a while. Now, before we dig in, I'm going to tell you one thing not to bother with, and then I'll tell you another thing later, but do not bother with the weights. Look, these weights are weights are expensive. Like I said on the Fitness Gifts episode, they're about $1 a pound. And so you're not going to really be able to find anything that has a decent enough weight at a price point of $5 or below. You don't need 5-pound weights. Like, everybody should probably be doing anything. If you're doing weights, it needs to be above 5 pounds. And if you want proof of that, go out there and pick up your bag and have your child pick up their backpack or their gym bag or whatever it is. It's more than 5 pounds. Like, we're lifting more than 5 pounds on a daily basis. Go to Costco, get a big old thing of water. That's like 40 pounds. So don't even bother with the weights, in my opinion. You can disagree with me. That's okay. And the other thing I want to mention is I'm going to be talking about these products. And then what I'm doing is I'm actually going to create a 30-minute workout routine, and I'm going to put it on YouTube, and I'll put the links in the show below. And that way you can take these 5 products and you can use them. And I'm going to give you a reason and a purpose for all of them in a workout. And if you like it, or if you just trust me enough, which I hope you do, but you never know, you can just show it to your daughter and send this to her. And I promise that I will take good care of her, and I will take good care of you, and I will show good form, and I will discuss good form, because I don't want anyone getting hurt on my watch, even if my watch is like through the screen. Okay, the first product is an 8-pound toning ball. If you're familiar with the term medicine ball, this is very similar to it. It is probably 8 inches in diameter and it's 8 pounds. I don't know, 8 inches. I'm just guessing on this, but it's not too big. So we can do a lot of different things with this. Like I said, I'm going to demonstrate all of this stuff in a video, so I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail in a lot of these products. The next item is a 3-pack of looped resistance bands. These are the same things I was talking about in the gifts episode. They are what I use when I am strengthening my mini muscles, which is what I was talking about in the 4 things to do over in your 40s, or 4 things to exercise in your 40s. These, again, are just like, they're really big, super big extra size rubber bands. If you want to envision that, it's a couple inches diameter or wide, and then probably 8 inches or so in diameter. And you can use these around your knees. You can use them above your ankles. I have used them for some upper body stuff. And I actually did a YouTube video on that. So I will include that link in the show notes as well. By the way, you can get the show notes by going to gracedhealth.com/5below, and it's the number 5 below altogether. The next item is a 4-pound, I don't know what they call it. I'm going to call it a sandbag. Oh, it says weighted sandbag. That's what they call it. So again, in the gifts episode, gosh, I'm really being annoying with this. I'm sorry, but I did talk about sandbells. This is similar to what they are talking about. Now, on the back of this sandbag, I just want to tell you, they have some exercises. Most of these are good, but they have one where they want you holding that sandbag out and then jumping up and basically doing a knee tuck and jumping back down. And I don't want you doing that, because I don't want you landing on your knees. So you can pay attention to some of the exercises here, but don't do that one. Anyway, I'm going to show you some more things that you can do with this, but this is a really great add-on for when you're doing T-stands, or if you're in a plank position, you can use that for different things. Again, it's not a ton of weight, but it will add just enough weight. And because it is soft, you can, put it on your back, or you can put it on your hips if you're doing T-stands and going up and down with those. So there's a lot of fun different things that you can do with it. The fourth one is a resistance tube. I also call these bands, which I know that they have resistance bands. Bands to 5 below are like what I call loops. I should have said that earlier. And then their tubes, which is probably a better word for it because it is a tube, is what I call bands. Are you confused yet? Probably. I hope not. I will have pictures of all of these in the show notes. So hopefully that will help clarify things. But if you don't want to, I think the bands that I suggested were about $35. If you don't want to spend $35 on all of those, you can get the one band and play around with that, see how that works. It only offers one resistance, but it may be that you can manipulate that a little bit to meet your needs. But the resistance tube is a good one. And then one of my favorite, I call them toys, like my fitness toys. I don't know why, because you can just add on and you have fun with them because that's kind of how I am. But one of my fitness toys, my favorite fitness toys from Five Below is a gliding disc. Now these are they're circular and they're about 6 inches wide. So there is foam on one side and on the back is plastic. Now I use these for sliding around and you create your own resistance when you do that. You can use these on carpet. I have used them on the turf. In fact, when I had my teen class this summer, I went out and bought a ton of these because they were super cheap and it was something that they could use. You can use them with your feet. You can put your hands on them. You can do all kinds of different things. We did bear crawls by pushing the plates, and they either loved them or they hated them or both. I'm not really sure. But anyway, those really gotcha. But these are fantastic. There's a brand that I use in my classes that I have one pair of because they are significantly more expensive than these. And I just decided that this was a great deal. And so I love these and I will use these a lot in the video that I make. I haven't made it yet. Shh, don't tell anyone. By the time this goes live, I promise I'll have it. I'll have a video using all of these products. And the final product that I think is great from Five Below is a yoga strap. Now, obviously, you can use this to carry around your yoga mat. But what I really like it for is stretching, and particularly stretching my hamstrings and my abductors, which are the muscles on the outside of your legs, and my adductors on the inside, because you can lay on the ground and pull it up and stretch it one way and stretch it the other. I'll put those in the video as well. But that is a really helpful tool for increasing your flexibility, especially if you don't have someone there to help you by kind of pressing on your leg or whatever. But that yoga strap, really, you can use it for a lot of different things and stretching out your chest and your upper body. So it is multi-purpose for sure. Now, I have a few honorable mentions that if you are just wanting to throw some stuff in and get some stocking stuffers, by all means, go for it. And the first of these is a sports dice. So it has maybe 8 sides on it and you throw it down. It's like a dice and it has different things. So it'll say like, I'm just doing off of memory, but like 10 push-ups or 20 burpees or, this and that. And so it'll have different things for you. I use this in my class. In fact, one of my students got it for me and I was like, oh, this is so fun. Now, we all enjoy it and we have fun doing it because it's kind of a surprise of what you get. We'll just call it get to do. I don't know if it's realistic that if you gave this to your daughter, you're like, throw this around and do what it says. Use your best judgment with your daughter. You'll know if she uses it or not, but it is something fun. Or if you are running classes, if you're a fitness enthusiast or a personal trainer or a group fitness instructor, these are fun ways and fun things to add to your classes. Another honorable mention is a foam roller. So moms, I'm talking to you, whether or not you have daughters or not, this is a great investment for you. It's probably not for your kid. And I know this because I have 2 foam rollers at home and my kids don't use theirs unless one of them needs to because he's had some injuries in the past. And I'm like, you better foam roll your legs if you don't want to tear your meniscus again. So he'll do that some, but don't bother. This is more for you. Like I said, she probably is not going to do that unless she's an athlete and her coach has told her that she needs to foam roll. I do have a video that is out there on YouTube. I'll include the links below if you're just kind of wanting to know basics on how to foam roll your legs. Actually, it's not even just your legs. It's your upper body as well. So I'll include that in the show notes. And then the final honorable mention is a resistance or stability ball. You will need an air pump to pump that up, but those are always good to use, particularly for your core. And even I remember when I used to teach prenatal and postnatal classes when I was pregnant and sitting on a ball, you can actually sit on that and do some bicep curls or some overhead presses and stuff like that. So those stability balls are good. They do take up more space, which is one reason why I didn't put it on the main list, because if you're trying, I don't know about you, but I have a real clutter problem. So the stability ball does create a lot more space, and everything else you can, shove under a bed or whatever you want. Okay. I already talked about things not to bother with in terms of weights. Don't bother with getting dumbbells. If you want some weights, go get, at least 8 pounds, maybe more, depending on what you're used to. And then don't get a sauna suit. I don't even know why those exist. I mean, all they do is they make you sweat, maybe to help detox, but what? No, just don't bother with that. If I'm wrong, if there's something out there that like, you're like, oh no, this is really good for this, then let me know. I'm not always right, but to me, I think they're kind of goofy and they're probably not worth the money. Okay. So let's recap really quickly. Great products from Five Below for you or your daughter: an 8-pound toning ball, a 3-pack of resistance bands, which are the same things as loops. Remember, their bands are my loops. A 4-pound sandbag, a resistance tube, which is the same thing as my bands. You're probably really confused now. That was completely understandable. The gliding discs and a yoga strap. Honorable mentions go to the sport dice, a foam roller, and the resistance or stability ball. Those words are used interchangeably, and I can't remember which one they call it. Don't bother with weights, and don't bother with the sauna suit. I'm sorry, I'm laughing. I don't even know. Like, tell me, am I wrong? I might be wrong. I don't know. What's the one simple thing I want you to remember with today's episode? Everything from, and this is the first time I'm telling you this, so it's hard for me to say to remember it, but everything at Five Below is a relatively low price point. It's all $5 or below. So experiment with some of these things. Try them out. Give them a shot. Maybe they work and you find a new way to move your body, and maybe they don't. And if they don't, then bless somebody else with them. You can give them away. You can give them to a friend, but it is a nice low price point and it's a good entry level thing to try. The best thing is if it helps you move your body and find joy in movement, or you're for your daughter, then that is mission accomplished for me. Next week is our last episode in the gym series, and I'm super excited to introduce you to a dear friend of mine who is what I'm calling a revelation partner. This is very different than an accountability partner, and she and I are going to talk a little bit about what that is and how it has helped us in our nutrition journey in particular, and why it's something that you may want to consider as you go through your own health journey. So make sure you tune in for that. Also, have you checked out the resources tab at gracedhealth.com? I have added all kinds of fun free resources to help you find your own simple, sustainable health. I am all about sustainability. I have a HIIT video and a checklist where you can just check things off and you can customize it as you want. I have some recipes of our family's favorite grab and go breakfasts. If you are wanting a little Jesus in your health journey, I have a 1-page reference of scriptures to pray over your health whenever you're just feeling all the things, I know I get in those moments of despair and discouragement, and it's just the truth and scripture to pray over that because God's truth prevails. Also, if you have listened to a few of these episodes and enjoy them, would you please, I don't want to sound like I'm whining here, you guys, but if you would please go to Apple iTunes and rate and review it, that would mean the world to me. It really helps the show. This is a new show. We're still getting off the ground, and it will help get that out to more people. So that stuff really does make a difference. And I really appreciate it when you do it. And thank you to those of you who have already done that. Okay, that is all for today. Let me know if you purchase any of these items, if you like them. If you do, go out on Instagram if you're on there, take a picture, tag it Graced Health, and let me know what you're doing with them. I'd love to see it. That is it for today. Go out there and have a Graced day.